It's a bummer.
Yeah, he's in his car though, trying to probably find reception. Shit.
How many surfboards do you need?
You know, they all serve different purposes.
Oh, they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, and I actually own more than is sitting there.
Wow.
But what's real is my daughter.
We're live, you guys, by the way. We're live.
We're
on
talking
YouTube.
for those that are there. We're talking about the
I bet we are.
back with
Right.
Norwood. So
Yeah,
We are.
three or four back there.
that's 5 surfboards, and I actually own more than that.
Wow.
But like they all serve different purposes. Sometimes it's just fun to feel something different in the water, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And they take different, like the smaller ones take a higher skill level, but
It's like a guitar or having a different sax, right?
yeah. But really, like my daughter and my 2 nieces, my Safia at age 7, Zainab age 9, Ashe age 9, I got them surfing, and like I'd go out there with them. So my surfboards got used so that they could grasp the sport.
Nice.
We are live now for sure on YouTube. By the way,
How many feet
I
is
am.
that longest one behind them all?
8 foot.
8 foot. Those
That's
are so
8 feet?
small.
Yeah,
8 foot
8
board
foot
is
board.
still small.
Yeah, fun board.
Yeah, when I was surfing, man, we had like 10 foot, 12 foot
Bird.
boards.
Right.
They were long boards, man.
What are you doing?
But then you could paddle. I'll never forget. I went.
What are you doing?
My friend, I used to surf all the time when I was a kid, and I hadn't surfed for years. So my buddy said, "Hey, let's go surf." I said, "Okay." So I got on the board. It was a short board. I started to paddle. I lasted about 30 seconds because I'm sunk under the water like this. And oh, dude, I never went again. That was it. I walked out and I turned around and came back. I could not.
I remember my first 2 days. I spent 2 days in a row learning how to surf for the first time, and boy, did I get banged up down in San Diego.
No, it's rough. Wait, are we on? It's time to go.
almost.
Yeah.
Oh, it is time to go. Let's see. We're waiting for the official.
I just pushed the button on Facebook.
Here we go, guys. You ready? I mean,
Here we
Perk.
go.
We hope. Oh, there's Perk. He's calling. All right, hang on. I'm gonna start. Let's get this show on the road. What do you guys say?
Let's get the show on the road. Maddie's ready.
Here's the best part.
Daddy.
The Rock and Talk Show, Beyond Backstage, with your hosts, Norwood Fisher, Kenny Olson, Scott Page, Stephen Perkins, Sheila Conlon, and David Moss.
And welcome to the Rock and Talk Show. This is show number 76, the bi-monthly show that dives deep into the entertainment industry, the business of it, the stories and culture around it, and everything in between. I'm the Moss Man. I gotta quickly introduce my amazing co-hosts, at least the ones that are here. We've got Scotty Page from Pink Floyd, Toto, Supertramp. We got Kenny Olson, Twisted Brown Trucker Band, Kid Rock, Experience Hendrix, Norwood Fisher from Fishbone, Trulio Disgracious, Sheila Conlon from the Conlon Company, and we're Stephen Perkins is on the road, literally trying to connect, so maybe he'll be joining us at some point. But man, we have an amazing show tonight. Like we have like legit legends on the show tonight. So
Yeah, boy, do we. One of my all-time faves. I mean, the grooves that this guy lays down is they're like, forget it. The feel is extraordinary, like the best, right?
I think you could say he's one of everyone's all-time faves, even if they don't know it. Even if they don't know it.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about how many babies were made just to his drum grooves.
Wait, he got all sides of the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Meet him on the dance floor, right?
Yep.
You take him to bed. There's Bernard Purdie.
You two, Kenny and Norwood, you guys actually played with him. Talk about a rhythm section. Norwood and our guest tonight, Mr. Bernard Purdie. But we also have to quickly thank last show's guest because, again, we had Carmine Rojas, another legend, amazing, just cool dude. What a badass dude, and super sweet guy. And of course, my friend, and now all of our friend, Amelia K. Spicer, killed it. Great. Great.
Yeah.
Tonight
Dude,
we've got our friends,
was something.
Thomas Claxton and Bernard Purdie. So, but before we go there, how's everybody? Sheila, how was your day, Sheila?
Sheila, how was your day?
Sheila,
tell us about your day.
Very interesting. But first,
Or
I
should
want
we
to
ask?
say, I'm so sorry I missed last week's show because I love Carmine and I was so looking forward to meeting Amelia. But yeah, I was in Minnesota with family. So thank you guys all for your support. It was a pretty rough couple months, but all is good now. And then, today, welcome back to Los Angeles. Ticket on the freeway, rocked through my windshield, and then banged into somebody. So very exciting day in Los Angeles.
You got to start
your windshield got cracked before the accident. So there's your out right there.
Well, the good news is I have that special glass coverage in my insurance. So they come to your house. I don't have to pay anything or a deductible. So that's good. I'll have to deal with the other thing later. I have no idea. But it was not too much of an impact, thank goodness. So happy to be here.
No airbags were deployed.
No, so I kind of wish it was for some weird reason.
I had a friend break a rib with his airbag was deployed in a small accident recently.
Damn.
I don't.
Norwood, you've been out freaking just finished a little run with Les Claypool.
So epic, insanely epic. It was like Primus' earliest shows the opening for Fishbone, right? And so we go way back. And it's just the beauty of the reconnection. His son Cage is running around, grown-ass man,
It's awesome.
But like most of his band, I know, right? Like Mike Dillon.
Yeah, of course.
Vibraphone, marimba, percussion.
Yeah.
Paulo Baldi.
Punkadelic, baby.
Paulo Baldi on drums, who I actually put out a record that Paulo was on, a band called Deadweight, violin, cello, and drums. They sounded like a fucking great track.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
And our dude Harry.
Oh yeah.
Harry
Waters.
Harry Waters on keys.
Harry Waters.
Harry was on keys.
He was on keys, bro. It was like a family reunion.
Wow, that's awesome.
And my God.
And his guitarist was like fucking Sean Lennon, man. Like and this was my first time meeting Sean.
Wow.
Right? So it was just like
that's epic.
The sweetest, most amazing guy. Like,
yes.
The photos are amazing. Go ahead, sorry.
Every night I was like, how can a band with all nice guys be so amazing?
Oh my God. I met Sean when he was a teenager.
Right?
Long ago. I guess that's aging me, but a long time ago.
I say we get to our special guests.
But real quick, Norwood, is there going to be some more shows with you guys doing more shows at Primus?
We're talking about the last night we talked about and wait a minute. Before I came home,
you got a commitment.
We did punk rock bowling.
Oh, nice.
Punk rock bowling in Las Vegas, which is such a massive, epic event.
It's like all over the place, right?
Yeah, all over the place. We played 2 shows. It was massive. It was fun. The Stern brothers from the band Youth Brigade put it together. Man, and
how'd you bowl?
Yeah. Awesome. You know what? I didn't pick up a ball. I didn't kick down a pin.
Awesome. Well, before we bring our guests in real quickly, tomorrow night at Carmine's on Santa Monica and Beverly Glen, if you're in the neighborhood, we've got Chad and Sean Bierman of Familiar Faces are going to be doing an acoustic duet there, and it's going to be a fun night, drinks, music, and come on out to Carmine's. So,
yes, well, one more, our good friend Kim at Carmine's. It's an amazing place. Yeah, amazing. So please come. Yes.
So, Norwood, Kenny, one of you give the real intro? Here we go. I'm bringing in our very special guest now. Go ahead.
Wait, if you were born in this time and you ever hit a dance floor, your feet came across the beats. Like you can't miss it. You can't get away from it.
More babies.
Purdie is everywhere.
More babies have been conceived to this man's groove than anybody's groove.
Sir Bernard Purdie.
He took you from the dance floor to the bedroom. It was
exactly. So let's give him.
And it might have been at the divorce celebration too.
Right. From Elkton, Maryland, here he is, Bernard Purdie. Welcome.
Welcome to the Rock and Talk Show.
Very thrilled, Bernard, to have you on. Thank you so much for doing our show. You know, for me, this is like a big deal. I'm a major fan of drummers, and I've had a pleasure to play with all, but I haven't played with you yet. These guys have, but I told Thomas Claxton, next time I got to be on Thomas Claxton.
Why didn't you call me?
I should have. I don't know what happened. I was nervous.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, good to see you, Bernard.
Huh?
So Bernard, where are you based out of? Where are you right now?
In New Bern, North Carolina.
All right. And again, thank you for joining us. I mean, one of my all-time favorite drummers on the planet, and just grooves. But talk about let's get right to it. Can you explain the triplet to your shuffle? Can you talk about that and explain what it is? The triplet to what is it? A half note? A half?
What are you talking about?
The Purdie Shuffle.
The Purdie Shuffle. How do you explain it without playing it?
Oh, it's easy. That part. No, actually, it's a 2-bar phrase. And the problem is that everybody wants to do it in a hurry. You can't do that. If you really want it to be what it's meant to be, it is completely a 2-bar phrase. You got the backbeat on 3 of each bar. You have the triplets, you have the ghost notes, you have the falling, just fun.
That's it.
Amazing.
That's it.
There it is. There it is. The Purdie Shuffle. And so, like, how old were you when you figured it out?
Oh, actually, I figured it out about, I was about 15, but nobody would let me play it.
So it chose you.
Why is that? Why wouldn't they let you play it?
Because
they didn't understand it.
They not only didn't understand it, but everybody talked about a shuffle. But the shuffle that everyone was talking about, had been talking about for 100 years, is do 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 do.
Swings.
That. And then you had the triplets, which was just the blues.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what they wanted. That's all they ever wanted, because that's all anybody ever played.
That makes sense.
Hmm?
That makes sense.
Well, of course it makes sense, but my problem was I got into trouble. I did, because when they say, play a shuffle, I play it. I'll go.
Who was it and what year was it? The first person that would like allowed you to express yourself like that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's jog the old memory right there.
Well, yes, you did. That really wasn't the problem.
Oh,
Because I was actually doing it when I was, 19 and 20. I already had it together. My problem was it was too complicated for most people, and no horn players wanted me to do that.
Huh.
None.
Why?
Simply
it
because-
swings so hard though.
No, it's not that. It's not that hard. It's just that drummers had a chance to do something else to support and take the music someplace else.
Mm.
And it was, and basically it started out from not just the blues, but from the triplet,
Yeah.
the backbeat. That triplet, you had 100,000 records.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's like,
Yeah, because
like you
that's
said-
what they wanted. No
Yeah.
horn players. Not one horn player wanted me to play that because it's interfered with them.
Huh.
They weren't used to it.
right. But what producer or band leader said, "I like that. Let's go with it" first?
First, oh, wow.
The first one that was like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
that's
well-
right on.
And I got a good follow-up.
Well, first, the ones who said it first and said it out loud turned out to be Steely Dan.
yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
What happened was our good friend, the one who passed away, but he sent me to do Steely Dan, to work with them.
Oh.
Now, he knew me long before I actually worked with them or did anything, because he used to come in to the recording studio in California, and his father would let him come and tell him, now you can't say anything, you can't do anything. And he just said, Dad, I want to watch him. I like what he's doing. And everything that I was doing at that time was this. But there were little records that came out, like Linda Jones, J.J. Jackson, It's All Right. There were people like that who I was doing their demos.
Ah,
Yeah.
Their demos gave me the opportunity to put
To be
something-
funky.
Yes. And Mickey and Sylvia, well, Mickey Baker, he loved it. He absolutely loved it. I didn't know he was the #1 guitar player in the world at the time.
Wow.
He was just, he became a friend of mine because I used to go over to Mickey and Sylvia's, the Blue Maraca. Because at that particular time, I lived on 165th Street in the Bronx.
Wow.
But they were up the hill. So you could walk up to the Blue Maraca.
Oh.
Those are that started me in the beginning of trying to sneak this other thing in. But it was the guys who allowed me, except for the horn players, they allowed me to play this in a real blues.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it was a halftime blues.
Right.
It was because I could do it, and they listened, but not one of the horn players wanted me to do that because it interfered with them. Because they're so used to.
Scott would have let you.
They're in a
And everything was fast because they wanted.
yeah, they're in a hurry to get to that note, even with the tempo that you got it at. It's that's one of the things with like your drumming, throughout the years. It's like I mean, being a guitar player, but I like between the great singers that I knew I couldn't sing like that I would emulate on the guitar, but your grooves were what taught me how to stay that hair behind the beat, to really stay funky with it. And growing up in Detroit, if you didn't know how to do that, people would frown on you on stage and look over at you like going, what? And listening to you and all those great songs through the years, like Perkins he just sent a text because he's having reception problems and he was brought up Green Earring, with Steely Dan. He was talking about Steely.
And that changed his life.
Yeah, that changed his life. But I remember as a guitar player, first time I heard like, bow, bow, down, down. I mean, I immediately like almost went out and wrote something that had that similar groove because I was young and just influenced and was like, I got to write something cool like this. And it was
my son's a drummer. When he was a kid, I told him, listen to Deacon Jones over and over and over again and just get that groove and just feel that vibe and that grip. I got a question. Like, you are the Purdie Shuffle. You created it, but did you hear it? Like, people you were listening to growing up, had you ever heard that before? And or it's
invented.
You invented it.
Felt?
You are the OG of all OGs.
Well, okay, then I will give my little secret out. It started from the train.
From the train. That's cool.
Right on.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right beside
So
us.
cool.
When it came down, it slowed down because in Elkton, we had a train stop. And we were living about, I don't know, 4 to 6 blocks away from the train station stop.
Yeah.
But the train would actually coming from Wilmington, stop in Elkton. It was a major stop for people getting on and off. And I loved the train when it just slowed down.
Amazing.
Woo. Woo. And woo. And then I just when you finally get down all the way, you had to slow down to stop. So, it just came into it. And then when it stopped, you got the
That is awesome.
That is so.
That is amazing.
Never thought about that. Wow.
That's just so freaking cool.
Did you ever know Charles Connor?
Yes, sir.
Little Richard's drummer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I had the privilege of having several very long conversations with him.
Mm-hmm.
And the train was beneath his story of when Little Richard talked him off of the drum seat of Professor Longhair.
Okay.
And they went back to Macon, Georgia, and there was the train. And Little Richard turned to him and asked him, could he play the rhythm of the train as they walked onto the platform? And he said, yeah. And he's like, that's going to be the rhythm of the music that we make.
That's awesome.
So, anyway.
You know who else talked about the train rhythm was Richie Hayward talked about the train.
Yeah.
The train
That's
rhythm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So we were just talking. Oh, sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, because Richard Hayden, there was no band with him. He let his band go for almost 10 years. I worked with him on and off, and he would go around the corner and 2 or 3 different places, but he did it by himself. He was actually, he was doing the shuffle on the guitar and making his
different Hayward that I'm talking about, though, right? I'm talking about Richie Hayward, the drummer from Little Feat.
Oh, from Little Feat, that came later.
Yeah, you're talking about a different Hayward.
Yeah.
You're talking about a different Hayward.
Hey, Bernard, I got to ask, who's one of your favorite? I know you've played with so many amazing guitar players and musicians in general, and singers, but who's like one of your favorite guitar players you worked with?
The one that most people couldn't stand. Eric Gale.
Oh, wow.
Eric's my
Yeah.
Eric and I have done a lot of stuff together.
I know you have. Have. But most people, Eric would not sit next to you. He would not sit next to you in the recording studio or on the gig, because he was always afraid somebody stealing his licks.
It's hard to steal with his strings upside down.
That was him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was just him. That's the way he was with what he was doing. He had a problem. He had a problem of what he was doing because he was playing 2 and 3 guitars at the same time, the parts. He didn't have to worry about doing one part separate and this. He did 2 and 3 every time he sat down to play.
Yeah.
He's so amazing. Like him and I, the Hendrix family put him and I together with Billy Cox and Mitchell back in the 90s when Eric's a little bit younger than me. Then we just started playing. We became like brothers then, and still are to this day. That's my I love Eric's playing. It brings something out of me where, like you're saying there, when he's on and his emotions are pouring, he's making, I think, sing.
Wow, that's great. Scott, I think you had something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because I know we were talking about the Purdie Shuffle.
Yeah.
I was really lucky. I grew up with Jeff Porcaro, because I know that's who you were talking about. I was in a kid band called Merciful Soul Band with Jeff back in the day. And we would we used to casuals and stuff together. We played in the band, but we would always listen to Purdie. And then when he did Rosanna, that was a combination of the Purdie Shuffle and I believe John Bonham, right? Wasn't it? I forget which tune it was, right? He kind of mashed those two together. So what was your thought about that when you kind of heard that combination?
Oh, I was happy as a lark.
Yeah.
I knew both. And that's who I was talking about.
Yeah.
He used to come to the recording studio, sit on the floor and watch. He wouldn't allow to speak, just like it was for me with my teacher.
Yeah.
But he just took the next step. He took the next step. Strangely enough, when he did Rosanna, he called me. Yes, he called me and he says, I think I got your beat down. I think I got, but he said, I'm putting it on 1. I said, okay, all right. So he
put his own bang on it.
Yeah.
Wow.
They both. John Bonham, he did it his way and it worked just like that. It was tight. They both realized that it was a 2-bar phrase. That's what it comes down to. And this is the one thing that nobody, and I tell everybody, whatever you want to do the Purdie Shuffle, think halftime. Do not think of straight time for anything because you're going to play everything too fast.
Yeah.
Consequently, you're not going to build up. You're going to run and you're going to fall right back into the same trap that all the other drummers did for 100 years.
Yeah.
It came from a ballad. That was the whole idea. I started from a ballad, and I'm doing the ballad just like everybody else. But what I was doing, what I wanted to do was a backbeat with it. So my backbeat didn't necessarily have to be on the snare. It could be cross stick, and could be cross stick very easily, and then use the fingers. Use the fingers to relax you. That's all it is.
I got to tell you a funny. I got to tell you a funny story. Talking about Eric Gales. So me and Eric and Bootsy Collins were playing with Chris Layton, and Chris Stevie's drummer, and he did this whole like halftime thing like you're speaking of, and basically just like copped this total Purdie the feel that you're describing. And Bootsy went over to him and afterwards and actually kind of made this analogy and your behalf in saying how he did it. And Chris looked at it also. He goes, I feel like I just got knighted by Bootsy. And it was because he totally captured that whole feel and what Bootsy was describing to him. And he nailed it. But you were like, that was the description, how to go. Like, do what Purdie would do.
I have a little clip. I have a little clip that.
Norwood and I.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go to it. Why don't you set it up, Kenny?
Well, I was just so honored. This is something Norwood actually orchestrated this and got, his Bernard, Bootsy, Fred Wesley, Blackbird McKnight, Lonnie, Chuck Boogie. Who else am I missing?
Oh my God! Wait, James Gatson was on the bill but couldn't make it.
Yeah, James couldn't make it because his asthma. He was
Wow.
Gatson was, but it was Norwood. Like, we had just got done doing some sync shows and NAMM and stuff, and Norwood's like, hang out in LA a little bit longer. I've got a fun gig for you to do with me. And then he told me it was Bernard and his brother and everybody else in Bootsy and everybody. I was like, I'm hanging in LA. So I was like, Sheila, guess what? I'm staying at your house for another week.
Yeah, I remember. And
I remember Norwood didn't call me, but that's
did you right. Oh. And
I think you were out of town, Scott. So was Perkins. Yeah. Everybody was gone.
Well, I'm going to show it. I got it.
Let's see it.
Here we go. Look at this.
Is this at Wisdom?
Yes.
Yeah.
This happened.
Oh, shit. I missed it.
Where'd it go?
There we go. Is it there?
No, it's not there.
Oh, wait. Time out. I don't know what just happened. Hold on.
Something weird.
We had a little malfunction on the Rock and Talk show. That doesn't happen very often.
This is me with my phone playing guitar and camera at the same time.
Hold on.
Of course, I wasn't playing.
Here we go. We're gonna try that again. Ready? Here we go. All right.
There it is.
There's Norwood.
I'm on stage with Bernard Purdie.
Good job.
And there you have it.
Wow.
Awesome.
I had to do that, Bernard. Those are some for a musician to be able to actually have the experience to play with you is if you do feel knighted afterwards.
And that was one of the last shows before the world shut down, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right before COVID.
Well, I do remember after that, Kenny was on cloud nine for like 2 weeks. He did not stop talking about that. That was amazing.
So did you play much during COVID? Just curious, Bernard, were you doing dates or sessions? Do you do stuff at your house or what did you do through that period of time?
I actually did a lot of recording.
Yeah.
And the recording were from young people who didn't know what to do. And then they would ask all kinds of questions and this, that, and the other. And I just since I was in Jersey, I tell them, I said, okay, you want me to fix your record, whatever it is, and such and blase this. We can go to Steve Jankowski, to his studio. It's quiet. You don't have to worry about anybody showing up, and you go ahead and you get it done. It was easy because earlier, and from some of the other studios and stuff that I had played at, I played in places where there was a school going on and they're teaching and then this, that, and the other. And we got too many people coming in and opening the door and such and such. When you charging people real money, you don't do that. You don't, the studio owners,
Yeah.
They made that was a mistake. So I just went back to Steve. I said, Steve, just let me know when I can come to your studio and do it. So it's hard.
Right.
It's hard to mix. But at the same time, you want to give people what they ask for and do it and get out and leave.
Yeah.
I mean, we're go ahead, Sheila.
Oh, no, I was going to say, yeah, COVID was a tough time for everybody, but it seemed like also a really great time to create and, work on new projects. And I think everyone here in this room that's a musician definitely did that and spent time doing it. But I want to segue for just a quick second because we have so many amazing listeners out there. So we want to thank you for tuning in. And you have so many great fans. And you have one named, I believe it's from Ron Boson. And I think it is a she, not sure. So excuse me for that. Wants to know, what was your first paying job? What is the first job you got as a drummer and you got paid for it?
Well, my first job, big bucks. I was actually 10 years old and I got paid $8.
Ooh.
And the next one, I upped my price to $12 because I could get it. And that, as a kid, I mean, I was doing everything that needed to be done, but they wanted me to stay longer. And this was another group that was in a recording studio. And I said, well, I can't do it because I gave, the guy a good price, such and such. Because that was big money for me.
That was big money for anyone. But what were we talking, like mid 40s, early 40s? What time frame?
It was the late 40s.
Okay.
It was the late 40s. And what you want to call it at the time frame, very early 50s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You could buy a lot of groceries with $12 in that time.
Dude, gasoline was like
Yeah.
23 cents, right? 23,
Yeah.
25 cents a gallon.
No, that was later that it was that high.
That-
Probably closer to
About 8 cents a gallon.
10 cents.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's
So
right.
here's a follow-up to that. So that's your first paying gig. Oh, you didn't say where it was. Where was it?
Elkton, Maryland, my hometown.
In your hometown at a club?
Yes.
Okay. And now the next question, and this is coming from me. So you've had such an amazing career and started very young. Describe that moment or that time when all of a sudden it sort of hit you that you've arrived or you've made it or like you're a star, When did that happen for you?
That didn't happen until I was late 20s, because I had made a couple of mistakes on the way up, and you can't make mistakes because, quote, they don't like it. Most of the time they didn't like it because I had a big mouth. I've always had a big mouth because I told people that I can play anything, any style, because I could, because that was what my teacher did. I was playing big band by the time I was 8. I was taking my teacher's place, covering him on the job, on the weekends, and I also set up the drums and I did everything, whatever needed to be done. But the thing
Did you say when you were 8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Because
That's so awesome.
well, he taught me because I had no money. So I would be sitting on his step 5 days a week. And he had his other students that came in, and when they were running into a problem, he would say, okay, Bugsy, play this for them. So I jump up, play it, I can not go sit down. Hey, I had no money.
Right.
And I would my drum set was pots and pans.
Yeah.
And what, like 8, like how, like were your folks musical? Were you, where did you discover that? Like that's so young. You're in a band at 8. Like
1 block away.
were you walking at 3 months? What, like?
Yeah.
I know.
When you start looking, but just the next block, because I was listening to him when I was 3.
Who was it?
Mr. Haywood.
Oh, the one we were talking about earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the point was, for me,
That's James Hayward, right? Or what was his first name? Was it James? I thought it was James Hayward, but
no. It was just Mr. Haywood to me.
okay.
That's all I did. That's the respect that you gave to older people.
But so go back to what you were saying about, when you felt like you really arrived and made it in your late 20s, because you made some mistakes, because a lot of people want to hear, like, how could you even have made mistakes? You're so good. So how did you get in trouble with your big mouth?
Well, that's what got me into trouble. I never had to really worry about playing the job. I could play the job at any time, but you're not allowed to make mistakes. That's the biggest thing. And if you got something you want to show and you want people to hear, you talk. You got to talk fast, because otherwise somebody else comes in and gives you something. Now, my problem was I also had a face that if you didn't try my way, then I felt sorry for you. Everything was on my face. It was just simple. And if I didn't like something, I didn't like what I was hearing, I had to either walk away or smile and get out of the way. Because I wasn't going to give it up if you didn't let me. My face said it all. It always did and always will. I
think your hands and feet say it all.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But when you were 8, or were you doing something, like with that whole in Maryland, that whole DC go-go's like that, like even at a young age, you were doing the big band thing? Were you getting into that kind of a vibe thing at a young age?
Yes,
kind of
yeah. People didn't quite understand that in music, you have to play what the band plays. You can't walk out here and do your own thing. First of all, you're not smart enough at that age. But if you can do what everybody else is doing, you become like a little genius.
Yeah. That's what I tell a lot of like guitar players, example, if I'm producing, they play so busy sometimes, and I'll tell these young guys, I'm like, if you want to keep the gig, play to the song, so everybody's happy playing with you.
You mentioned earlier the younger people reaching out during COVID. Who has your attention today from the younger crowd, the up and coming artists? Anybody in particular?
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people, and I not here to brag about such and such and such. I've helped a lot of folks.
Yeah.
I treated them like family.
Me.
Me too.
The thing is that I've tried to explain to them, when you go out to do your job, it is a job, and it's a job first. I really had to learn discipline. I really did, because I would jump up in a minute and give my 2 cents when I had no. How are you going to be on somebody else's job and tell them how to play? You can't do that. You can't do that. But the problem that I had is that if I was in that kind of a situation, my face showed everything. My body language showed everything. And sometimes I couldn't help myself. Yeah, you know.
So the real point is we should play poker sometime.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Purdie, I got a kind of burning question, because it's something, rock steady.
Yeah.
Mr. Franklin. Like, you moved a lot of feet with them beats on that track, right? You and Chuck Rainey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, I after years of listening to it and thinking about the title, I was like, wait a minute, there's a whole style of music out of Jamaica called rock steady.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering if there was a connection to that in the way that you guys expressed them rhythms, if it was inspirational, or y'all just erupted into something that just sits because y'all just doing what you do.
Well,
There's that face.
That's what I was gonna say. Oh, okay.
well, looking at it this way, yes, I went to Jamaica. I went to Jamaica when I was about 18, 19. I actually recorded the #1 singer in Jamaica. And you're talking about the songs that when I came back from Jamaica, I was showing them all to Chuck, Eric Gale, such and such. And I started using a real touch of Jamaican, or we didn't call it Jamaican. It's just being a little humble, because I had 8 to 10 people showing me how to make reggae work. And that's where most of it, for almost 5 to 10 years,
Wow.
I was using reggae with halftime, with,
Okay.
Amazing. That all makes sense.
All right. That's deep. Thank you.
Well,
I just
listen,
have to add,
we got to bring in our we got to bring in.
I just got to add, though, that Rocksteady, growing up in Detroit, is probably what you did, drums in that song, is probably like one of the coolest things ever done on drums, period. I just love that song.
Thank you.
100%.
Yeah.
And you've done a lot, and you've done a lot of the coolest things ever done on.
Yeah, I know. Like the
exactly.
second of that would be you. I mean, between
Yeah.
you and I was, James Gatson too, are the guys that
Oh my God, we could go on and on with all your cool stuff. Wait, before we're gonna bring in our musical guest, who Thomas Claxton. I do want to ask one question though, and I'm sure you've been asked this many times, but how did you get your nickname Purdie? Is it because of your face? Oh, you're no.
When I came to New York, they couldn't pronounce my last name.
Bernard Purdie.
Yeah. So it was easier for them to Bernard Purdie. And, you know, they started things, man, my name is Purdie, you know, but the Purdie stuck. It really stuck.
Wow.
And I started thinking about it. And I said, I don't mind. But
I actually like it.
That whole thing, my whole name came out, Bernard Purdie Purdie.
I love it.
It took 10 years to get my last name in.
I love
10 years before they finally did it. And they did it because I made up some signs. You done hired the hit maker. Pretty Purdie.
Amazing.
You done hired, you done this and that. And Jimmy Tyrell,
I love it.
the bass player. He's the one that actually got me to go to Jamaica.
Right on.
And going to Jamaica, that the first time going there, I end up with Bob Marley.
Wow.
Wow.
Johnny Nash and his brother are the ones who actually produced Bob Marley's first 2 albums.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow. What an
That's
incredible.
Amazing. I had no idea.
Now that
I just have
was
to
worth
say,
the
like,
journey.
Well, I was going to
I'm
ask
just-
that. I was going to ask that. I was going to say, okay, it had to be when you were in Jamaica, Johnny Nash, Bob Marley. It had to be.
Well,
You had to be hanging with them.
Bob Marley, he was king over there, but
Kind
nobody
of still
really-
is.
No, I'm saying nobody really knew what he did and
Yeah.
how he did things. So the guy that actually owned the first recording studio over there was a cousin or somebody of Johnny Nash and his brother.
Yeah.
So that's who brought me over.
Amazing.
And everybody in Jamaica, every musician in Jamaica started teaching me the reggae.
The reggae, the
Yeah.
upbeat.
Not the other, the ska, the sky.
Yeah.
Roots, the real deal, the roots.
Yeah.
The real deal.
Yeah.
I loved it because it was wonderful. It was something that was pleasing, and I brought it back. And the first thing that I did when I got back was show Chuck Rainey, and told Chuck, I said, Chuck, I want to tell you about this beat and stuff to him. Okay. We start doing it immediately. We start doing it, and nobody knew the difference of what we were doing as far as reggae was concerned. We were not doing the ska.
Right.
Right.
Awesome.
Everybody was doing that because of the dancers. The ska,
Right.
but the reggae part, that came from
That's amazing.
body movements and everything. And the women dancing, the guys dancing, didn't matter. You know, they weren't even touching.
Yeah.
But the dance kept them moving. You could actually move.
Amazing.
Oh.
Oh, we just lost Bernard.
He just danced right off the screen.
How did that
That's
happen?
a first.
That's a
Wow.
first.
That was
That's
Maybe he'll log back in, which is a good segue to bring in our musical guest and longtime friend, Mr. Thomas Claxton. Welcome to the
Claxton.
room. We're not sure what happened, but we just lost Mr. Bernard Purdie.
He was talking about dancing in Jamaica, and he
I
just
know. It was like
danced
all of
off
a
the
sudden,
screen.
like a
We
bewitched
we
moment.
just lost him. Maybe we could get him a text and
Yeah, let's make
Bernard
sure we
just
get
dropped
him back.
off by accident.
Yeah, we gotta get him back on.
We have to get him
Oh,
back. Hi,
amazing.
Hang
Thomas.
on, I'll call him really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hi,
there you go.
Thomas.
well, and while we're doing that, I'm just gonna say this is maybe one of the coolest shows we've ever done.
Yeah.
Like this is amazing. This is incredible. Some stories.
We're gonna pinch you, David. We're gonna pinch you, David.
What an
I mean,
amazing guy.
I'm right there with you. This is
My mind is blown 6 ways to Saturday.
yeah.
I mean, and
I
we
feel
haven't
so
even
bad about-
scratched the surface of stuff
I
to
know.
talk about.
But we got to get
Oh
him
my
back
God,
on.
I know. I know. I
'cause
wanted to talk to him
Perkins
about. Yeah, Perkins isn't here, but I want to
Perkins
talk
not being
about.
able to talk to him. You know, that's
Yeah, we definitely got to have him back on because
That's
we
like-
never
that's
really
like-
got into the music.
Celia
The
said that,
stories, if you start
she's gonna
thinking
use
about
the
all the
phone and
people,
get him back on.
it's got to be
I know
incredible.
Scott. For like Perkins not to be on here, that'd be like Gilmore being on you. You getting Gilmore on here, and
We
my
need
phone's
to-
in no reception zone. I'd be
Right.
like, ah.
Right.
I'm like,
There
You
she
need
is.
to get Perkins more set up in his car. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to like. But anyway, yes. Okay, here comes Bernard's coming back. Thomas,
That's
thank
good.
you.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hey,
He's back.
We lost you.
we got him.
Bernard, you danced right off the screen.
He just said he was dancing, or he just danced away, right? So we got an old friend of yours.
Yeah, Mr. Purdie, you know this guy Thomas Claxton, right?
Nah.
But one thing, Bernard, can we have you flip your screen? Just do it
Turn
horizontally.
it sideways.
Yeah.
There we
you
go.
go.
yeah,
That's better.
perfect.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. So Thomas, you and Bernard just did a gig together, right? What was that like? And who was on that exactly?
Yeah, man. It was the same concert series that you were on with Kenny back in February when we had you and Kenny and Tony Franklin there. And this time it was a totally different vibe, you know. So we had the Pink Floyd vibe in February and the hard rock stuff. And then this time
Give us a
around,
little more volume, Thomas. Just a
let's
slight,
see. Hang on,
slight
hang
bit
on.
of volume.
Oh, let's see.
You're a little
Is that better?
much
there you
better.
go.
All right, there
Yeah,
we go.
you were in
So,
your
yeah,
singing mode.
I'm telling you, dude. So we brought in this time it was like a completely different vibe on it, you know. So this time we went from the Louis Armstrong, Hall and Oates, Steely Dan vibe, and Carmine Rojas was also one of the guests. So we had the David Bowie, the Rod Stewart, and ironically, you know, we just lost Tina right before the gig. So we had already planned on playing some Tina Turner music, and we knocked the Tina stuff out, and it went great. Got a great response, and we also had our friend Will McFarlane, who played with Bonnie Raitt for years, and he's one of the famed Muscle Shoals rhythm section, the Swampers. So you know, so to have those three guys up there this time around, and also a mutual friend of many of us, Miss Roberta Freeman, was there. So you know, it was
Roberta.
Great vibe. And I met Bernard actually back in, I think it was November of 2021. It was, I was doing this benefit with our friend Alan Friedman, and Bernard was in the crowd for the special guest of that weekend were the immediate family, you know, Leland Sklar, Waddy Wachtel, that group. And Alan Friedman calls me up and he goes, Thomas, you're not going to believe this. I said, what's that? He goes, Bernard Purdie is going to be there. So, of course, Bernard and Celia sit directly in front of me, and I'm nervous as hell the entire time. You know, it was just a great vibe. And Celia and Bernard was just having a great time. And then all of a sudden we're doing the last song, and Bernard, I turn around and he's behind the drummer, and he's already grabbed the drumstick and he's banging on the snare drum. So like I told the crowd this past weekend, of course, I rode that train. I was like, you know what? I was on stage with Bernard Purdie. They didn't even know that he was only hitting the snare drum. They didn't even know that. And then the following year, we did another event with Alan Friedman, and this time was a tribute to Bernard, and very deservingly, you know, because Bernard is literally, I know he gets tired of the legend thing, but he's never going to get away from it because he is a living legend. And you know, it's a huge honor to call not only them, you know, people that I've played with on stage, but Celia and Bernard have become great friends. You know, when you're sharing Christmas cards with each other, you're buddies. That's the way it works. I love the two of them very much.
Awesome.
Love that. I love that.
Oh, there she
hi,
is.
Celia.
Hi,
Celia.
Celia.
Well, Thomas, this has been, first of all, Thomas, thank you for setting this up show and connecting us with Mr. Purdie tonight. Because,
Mr. Purdie, will you come back and do another show with us? We'd love to.
Because we haven't even scratched the surface. Like,
and I know Stephen Perkins
again. Perkins needs to be here on us.
He's been texting. He goes like, "This is painful. I can't believe I'm missing this right now," because he's such a fan, right? So, yeah, we got to get you back.
There's really no way to summarize Bernard's career in, you know, just a half hour. So I mean, you're talking so many albums and so much stuff. I always tell this story ever since Bernard and I had this happen, but it's such a hilarious story that it needs to get told every time Bernard and I are together. But so I called up Bernard one day and I was like, "Hey, Bernard, Alan Freedman and I are going to play the Bitter End in New York." And of course, what better drummer to call than Bernard Purdie, you know? So Bernard comes out, and it's me and Bernard and Alan Freedman and Ron Beanstalk and our friend Wayne Livingston and Jeff Batter. We're all there, and we were having a great time. And I always say the same thing because it's so true. Like, everything we should have screwed up, we didn't screw up. It went great. And the song that we should not have screwed up somehow went to complete hell. And we were started off on The Thrill Is Gone by B.B. King. We don't even know how it got screwed up. It was so funny because like 30 seconds into it, Bernard stops and Bernard goes, "Fellas, let's try that again." and we go back into it, and the second time around it was even worse. We don't have, you know, we're not going to point blame at anybody, even though Bernard and I have suspicions, but we're not going to do that. But it was hilarious, and it was one of those moments where it just never should have happened, but it did happen. And when we got off the stage, the owner of the Bitter End came up to me and he goes, "Hey, Tom, you know, the music, it wasn't bad. It was really good. You know, we had a great time, except for that B.B. King tune. You know, that didn't go over so well. And by the way, Russ Titleman was in the crowd when you guys played that." Now, Russ Titleman is a multi-time Grammy Award-winning producer. He's done George Harrison's self-titled album. He did Eric Clapton Unplugged. And apparently Russ stood up and he goes, "Well, the thrill's gone, all right," and left.
Wow.
I got my first deal I ever saw playing at the Bitter End. First showcase
legendary
I ever did in New York back in the day.
Yeah, Bitter End. Well, listen, we do have to stay on track. I mean, like I said, everyone's
going a little longer today.
Bernard, like, such a pleasure. We can't say it anymore.
Yes.
And we're gonna have Thomas.
Gosh.
We're gonna have Thomas sing a song and tell us what that is, and then once he finishes, we'll come back and wrap it up. But you're on, Thomas. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, so this
The
one,
thrill is gone.
I still no, it's not The Thrill Is Gone, Scott. No, but for some reason I've procrastinated on naming this one, but it had a good meaning behind it. It started off as kind of a message to someone, and then something happened to a very good friend of mine, and it morphed into something different. And I played it back in February, and Kenny liked it a lot, so I'm going to play it again for you guys here. So
if Kenny liked it, we're not going to like it.
Yeah, as long as Kenny likes it, I don't care if the rest of you like it. It's all good. Kenny likes it. It's really good.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas.
Walk alone, take whatever path you choose. Nothing lasts forever, anyway the road will turn. The wind may blow, your soul may sing. Hold on while you can, live for today. Don't you worry, the sun will shine on us again. And time can heal the deepest scar, it seems, and it will tell the meaning of the darkest days. Till then, it remains a mystery. And if you ask me for a reason, if you need to say goodbye, think of me from time to time. Find the starlight in your eye. Stop and stare, take a look around. How have you been? There's something left to say, just so you know, but take your time. Nothing lost and more to gain. Think of me before you go. And if you ask me for a reason, if you need to say goodbye, think of me from time to time. Find the starlight in your eyes. Is there any way not to care while time slips away? Please say that it's all a dream. I'll see you another day. If you ask me for a reason, if you need to say goodbye, think of me from time to time. Find the starlight in your eye.
Great song.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Awesome,
guys.
dude.
Good job,
my
buddy.
God. Thomas,
Awesome.
tears. I have tears in my eyes. It just that reminded
Isn't
me
that
of
an amazing song?
So good.
Thomas is also always the most prepared technically for this show of all of our musical guests. He always sounds perfect. That was good, dude.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Cheers to
That
you.
sound that was I just love that song.
Well, I
Well,
got to make a place for it for Kenny Olson then.
Yeah, I want to play on that baby. I'm already yeah.
I know. Well, listen, this is the end of our show, and we can say I will do my part on here and say make sure you tune in, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram at the Rock and Talk Show, and our next show is coming up in 2 weeks, so stay tuned for that. And David, you can take it away from here.
I mean, I just want to say, Mr. Purdie, thank you so much. It was truly an honor to have you on the show with us. I've listened to you my whole life, so it means a lot. Thomas, thank you for joining us on the show and doing a great job. We do want to have you both back again.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
we're going to do that in the near future. But yeah, I mean,
How about tomorrow?
what a great show. Don't forget, 2 weeks we'll be back. You guys don't leave. Just hang tight for one quick second.
See you next time on the Rock and Talk Show Beyond Backstage with your hosts, Norwood Fisher, Kenny Olson, Scott Page, Stephen Perkins, Sheila Conlon, and David Moss. Executive producers, Sheila Conlon and David Moss. Producer and director, Eric Lloyd. Assistant producer and creative director, Mark Armentano. Editor, Graham Cooper. Theme music by ThinkX. Powered by JBL and AKG. Artist Relations, TPI Films. Special thanks to From the Earth, ThinkX, The Conlon Company, and Mac. Check us out on YouTube/The Rock and Talk Show, Facebook and Instagram at The Rock and Talk Show.
And until next